Hello everyone, this is Darion GNB here, and welcome to another GNB discussion. We're back again with another Devil May Cry related yap session. Still working on October's videos, but hopefully I can still squeeze out a few more of these until we get to that point next month. Today I'll be talking about an issue I've had with the Devil May Cry franchise almost since I've gotten into it. I've mentioned in several videos in the past that I dislike whenever pieces of media leave out important details for world building or characters, etc. For this video, I'll mainly be talking about prequel comics, novels, and material like that. Now, I'm not entirely against something like this. Outside media that expands upon certain things that don't get explored in the main piece of material isn't inherently a bad thing. It's a bad thing whenever these things are written with the intention of it being encouraged to be consumed in order to not miss out on any details or context for the main piece of media that it's attached to. The first series that comes to mind with this for me is the Sonic franchise. Ever since Sonic Forces, there have been different entries from games and movies that hop on the use prequel material to explain certain things that aren't in the main piece of media bandwagon. The Devil May Cry franchise has a very similar but different type of problem. This series is composed of a lot of prequel material when you really take a step back and look at it, and thankfully none of these things are required to engage with any of the games. My problem is that by comparison, the games rarely, if ever, have as much interesting character work and stuff like that compared to that of the prequel material. The thing that made me want to make a brief discussion video surrounding this topic is this moment from the Visions of V prequel manga, a manga that goes heavy into V's perspective of various points in the game, whether it be his time in Redgrave City before he meets up with Nero to defeat Goliath, or his experience merging back with his demon half and becoming Virgil again. Not only is this manga incredible, I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in learning more about the intricacies of V and by extension Virgil's character. But the moment I'm referring to is the scene where V tells Dante that Virgil is back. And I'm talking about this scene in particular because it's one of the things that made me realize just how much this issue irks me. In the game, when we get the scene of V telling Dante about Virgil, we quickly cut away before we can see Dante's immediate reaction. Now, for the game's story, this works. It keeps up the mystery and intrigue behind who this mysterious demon character is, even if it's pretty obvious that it's Virgil. But in the Visions of V manga, we instead sit and see Dante's reaction to what V told him, and he got fucking pissed. Glowing eyes, sharp teeth. He looks like he's about to rip V to shreds for theoretically joking about his dead brother. When I first saw this, I got so pissed we didn't actually get this in the game, because I don't think we've ever seen Dante this pissed off before. And hearing Langdon deliver these lines would have been so damn cool. That's not all. The Visions of V manga is chopped full of incredible moments and writing for the titular character. That's barely touched on in the main game. That's not to say the game needed to go all into this stuff with V, but I can't help but feel a little disappointed that the game doesn't give us as much meat to chew on by comparison. This doesn't even just pertain to Visions of V, but most of the various prequel material the franchise has done. In those, they feel free to dive into so many different avenues for our characters, which is really cool to get insight on a lot of these different things. Another example from Visions of V being where we really get to sit and see Dante really take in the fact that Virgil is back, as well as Nero being freaked out and on guard with V, because without his Devilbringer he can't sense demon energy. Just a couple little extra tidbits of character added in that I think were really interesting. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more applied into the actual game. But some of the time, these prequel material implements extra little details for our characters in the story that don't have any impact on the game's story. Correct me if I'm wrong, as I haven't read it myself and I'm just going off of memory, but I remember in the DMC5 Before the Nightmare prequel novel, or some other DMC-related material that detailed Nero feeling a sense of guilt for not being able to hold on to the Yamato, as it was something that Dante entrusted to him. This would have been a really interesting angle to explore for Nero's story in that game, had the game actually reflected that in some way. That piece of info has no bearing on Nero's journey for that entire game, and it's a shame, because that would have been a really interesting angle to expand upon. I honestly don't think there's more for me to go into with this. I wish the series went all in with the character writing like they do in the supplementary material. If by the grace of God we ever do get DMC6, I'm praying they lock in with the writing for the story, themes, characters, etc., to where it has the same depth as stuff like Visions of V, as well as the other prequel material they've done. With all that said, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, let me know down in the comments. This has been Darion GNB. Take care.